This is what we're making today, Sakura Tempura. This tiny little guy here is a prawn, and as you guys know, in this channel, we destroy seafood. After ripping the prawn's head off, we're going to take off its shell. Make sure you don't rip the tail off along with its shell. You want something to hold on to. After taking off the shell, we're going to make an incision on the back side of the prawn. Here lives the poop chute. You want to take that off. It's not very tasty. It's bitter and gross. It should look like this. On the bottom side of the prawn is another vein. This one is actually nothing bad. It's optional if you want to take it off or not. It is a little bitter though. Once we've taken out all the veins, your prawn should look like this. Now we're going to throw it in a bowl of cold water and wash it. All we're trying to do here is get rid of the remaining gunk from the head or any leftover veins. Next, we're going to make a dashi. In a liter of water, we're going to add in 1 shiitake mushroom and kombu. We're going to simmer this for 30 minutes. Make sure this pot never comes to a boil or it will become bitter. After simmering it for 30 minutes, we're now going to strain our stock. If you guys are interested in learning about Japanese food, I highly suggest that you guys learn how to make a dashi first. This is the soul of Japanese cuisine. After straining the shiitake mushroom and kombu, we're going to add in our bonito flakes and let it seep in here for 5 minutes. Bonito flakes are very delicate in flavor. Make sure this is off the heat or it will turn bitter. After 5 minutes, we're now going to strain the bonito flakes. And the final product is our dashi. It should be clear and golden in color, just like this. Now we're going to make our tempura dipping sauce. We're going to combine 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, and 3/4 of a cup of dashi, and then mix. And that's our simple tempura sauce. Now let's get back to our prawn. We're going to stretch this prawn to make it longer. We're going to make diagonal incisions down the spine halfway through the prawn. Make sure you don't cut all the way through. Then we're going to flip the prawn and do the exact same thing on the bottom side. Again, make sure you don't cut all the way through or you'll have a broken prawn. Once we've made our incisions, we're going to use our fingers to break the spine by pushing it down onto the cutting board. We're going to do this on both sides of the prawn. After breaking the spine, your prawn should double in length. This will also keep the prawn straight while we're deep frying it. Next, we're simply going to cut an eggplant 1/2 inch thick. In the game, it says lavender melon, but that clearly doesn't exist, so we're using an eggplant instead, because it looks like a lavender melon. Once we've prepped our prawns and cut our eggplants, we're simply going to dip this in all-purpose flour. This process will help the shrimp and the eggplant bind to the tempura batter that we're about to make. Now let's make our tempura batter. In a cup of cold water, we're going to add in 1 egg and give it a really good mix. Then we're going to add in 3 ice cubes. This is to make sure our tempura batter is ice cold. After throwing in our ice, we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of potato starch and 1 cup of cake flour. Now this is the important part. We don't want to give it a mix. We simply want to dab our whisk into the mixture until all of the cake flour and potato starch is submerged in water. We want the clumps. The clumps will give the batter body and give us a crispier, more enjoyable tempura. After coating the prawns in tempura batter, we're now going to fry it in a deep fryer for 2 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're not just going to throw the prawn in because it might curl up. We're slowly going to submerge the prawn into the deep fryer until a crust forms on the batter so that the prawn stays straight. While I cook my prawns, this is where I remind you to smash that like button and hit the notification bell for new videos. And if you really like what you see, hit the subscribe button. It's at the bottom right of your screen. And guys, if you want to help support fund my recipes, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/chefmar. After 2 minutes in the deep fryer, we're going to take out our prawn and let it rest on a rack. Now we're going to cook our eggplant. We're also going to cook this for 2 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't have to lower it in slowly, you can just dump it into the fryer because we're not going to keep it straight. For the eggplant, it's very important that we flip this after 1 minute or one side will be undercooked. And after 2 minutes in the deep fryer, now let's get ready to plate. Alright, now it's time to eat this. Alright, so right before this scene, I actually deep fried these prawns and eggplants again because they were getting soggy. After I finished cooking it, it took me another 20 to 30 minutes to plate it and take all my pictures, so I had to re-deep fry this again. As for the taste, it's crispy, it's crunchy. I would say the batter could have been a little bit thinner, and I think that's because I didn't account for the extra tablespoon of cornstarch that I put in there with a cup of water. Now let's try the eggplant. Guys, I don't know why I'm holding this. It's actually really hot because I just deep fried it again. It's burning my hand. We're gonna power through it anyways and eat it. Eat it like a champ, even though it burns. And now my hands are feeling it. Now I have to go get chopsticks because it hurts. Now that I can eat this more comfortably, the eggplant is actually really good. It's soft on the inside and crispy on the outside. As for the dipping sauce, it's delicious. It's very simple. It's just dashi, soy sauce, and mirin. Now, I know in the picture there were pickled sakura blooms, but I couldn't get a hold of that, so I'm using pickled ginger instead. I mean, it's still edible, it cleanses your palate. And as for the citrus thing in the picture, I believe that's a sudachi, but I don't have that here. I can't get a hold of that, so I'm using a lime instead. Anyways, that's it for this episode. If you guys like what you see, hit the like button. And if you guys have any suggestions on what I should cook next, please post in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.